Developing international accounting standards has been a task taken on by the G20 group. But how far has it come, and what are the other developments that are on the horizon? Here to share his insight is Leonardo Braune of Intercorp Group. Now, what do you, Leonardo, make of the G20's recent moves?
It's a natural trend worldwide because basically by harmonizing the accounting standards, it becomes easier to compare company figures and facilitate the transactions that take place globally. So it's a must. The languages between the different accounting balance sheets and the different processes must be harmonized so that with the global transactions and M&A transactions that are happening so far, they will be very important to do that.
So Leonardo, is it hard for a company to move its operations offshore?
Today it's extremely hard, and part of what we do at Intercorp is try to facilitate and clarify the particular issues that need to be addressed before making that happen. This is the type of move that you cannot learn as you go because the costs can be tremendous, and understanding the synergy between the international legislation, the country you're focusing, and the current one is very important. Looking at the tax aspects, the regulatory aspects, and making sure that what you have interpreted initially as the plan actually follows up as it should.
Now, what type of businesses are you helping to make international entities?
Well, right now there's a lot of service companies and many industries in the distribution segment which want to expand. The truth is, Brazilian businessmen and Brazilian businesses in general are trying to expand their operations and to somehow get a piece of the global market. Initially, the plan comes up as establishing the company overseas, picking the right market, understanding exactly the opportunities, and then the challenges come along with it, which is to how to maintain tax efficiency, making sure that the regulatory aspects are followed, and basically making sure that everything that was initially thought out is followed through.
So as a follow-up to that, can you tell me how international tax regulation has helped or hindered a company's success overseas?
Well, the truth is, with the current trend of trying to harmonize the standards, this has become a little easier because now you have treaties in place and you have measures that have been taken by many of the governments to try to facilitate the process of receiving investments from overseas. So what we see is currently, most of the countries, and you take the example for the UK, where there's a lot of media focusing on shifting the businesses to the UK because the legislation is good, because the tax system is fine. So this is happening everywhere. And basically that facilitates the process and enables different companies, especially companies from what was called initially emerging markets, to actually expand and establish themselves on a more global presence.
So can you tell me about some of the key issues that your international clientele face in terms of taxation?
Clients don't like to pay tax. Nobody does. So the main point we have really is trying to avoid paying double tax, because you have tax at your home country where you're established, and you obviously have to deal with the taxes in the countries where you're establishing your new business. Making sure that credits are allowed and that you're not going to be double taxed on a particular transaction is very important. So that is one of the issues. Obviously, the other issue has to do with the fact of them trying to see if there's a way they can get their dividends back, and return of their investment tax-free. One of the main mistakes that we see in these types of analysis is that the investments up front and the plan looks proper, but they forget to take into account the net impact after all the taxes are taken into consideration. Getting to that level of detail requires local expertise in multiple jurisdictions. What we do really is exactly try to conciliate all of that into one simple strategy that fits the current business plan.
Starbucks' European head office was, of course, in the news recently for depressing the group's tax bills around the continent. Now, the company had to move its headquarters, of course, to London following federal tax reforms. What do you make of this company move?
That's something that actually we've seen quite a bit of companies evaluating. Obviously, to make that decision and to implement that takes a long process. But the main reason why this is happening, it probably has to do with tax and the tax efficiency that London has implemented. The truth is that the UK today has one of the lowest corporate tax rates at 21% versus most countries which are in the high 30s. That in itself demonstrates that the company is also seeking efficiency from a tax standpoint. But I don't think that's the only reason why they did that. The UK has a regulatory system that's very efficient. The legal system is very fair and developed if compared to other countries. So by having its headquarters here, they may also be trying to take advantage advantage of the London courts in case of any disputes or anything. And it's a system that sort of tries to filters away discussions and implementation of certain aspects which aren't necessarily as fair as it would be in other countries. So it's a combination of security, financial stability, tax regulations, and also a legal system that you can rely on. And I guess that's part of the reason why you end up choosing to move your headquarters to a particular location based on these different things.
Leonardo, it sounds like you would advise a similar type move to one of your clients.
Yes, I did advise many of my clients to do that, not only as individuals, because also the UK tax system is very friendly for foreigners that want to establish themselves here. There's a system called UK resident non-domiciled, which is very helpful for a lot of individuals that have established themselves outside of the UK, and also their companies and their businesses. So yes, we do quite a bit of work involving the UK as a new home for some of the families we assist.
Leonardo, so interesting to talk to you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.